Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tulohoyane. This morning I would like once more to look into the analysis of some of the aspects of the Meyiwa trial. Sometime last year, I think it was around August or September, Advocate Ramusipili, while he was cross-examining Kininda, came up with two letters. One addressed to Advocate Mshololo, the other one addressed to Advocate Malisela Tifo. These were the letters written by the Director of Public Prosecutions, Gauteng. And these letters were informing them that the Director of Public Prosecutions, or the DPP, was undertaking a prosecution under docket 636 and that 375, docket 375, would be held in abeyance pending the outcome of the trial that is unfolding under 3636 in the Pretoria High Court. This disclosure was subsequent to Tifo's exposure that there was in fact a docket 375. After Advocate Ramusipili made this disclosure about these letters to Mshololo and Tifo, Advocate Baloyi for the prosecution then rose up to say, no. The letter written to Advocate Tifo does not form part of the record. It is only the letter that was written to Advocate Mshololo that is part of the record. Advocate Ramusipili immediately dismissed all this and said the letters were, a photocopy of one another. They were simply saying the same thing. So it made no difference whether the letter that he's talking about was the one written to Tifo, which Baloyi was contending was not on record, or whether he was reading the letter that was written to Mshololo, which was on record. But the interesting thing about this communication from the Director of Public Prosecutions is the decision to hold docket 375 in abeyance pending the finalization of the case before the Pretoria High Court, which is being pursued subject to docket 636. Another worrying development is that, according to the prosecution, docket 375 relates to the charge of defeating the ends of justice. Contrary to what everybody is saying, that docket 375 is about the no intruder theory, the theory that no people had entered that house. The prosecution is adamant that it relates to the charge, or deals with the charge, of defeating the ends of justice. But from that, what do we make of this? From that, we can conclude that the prosecution is in fact aware that in the Senzo Meyiwa investigation, somebody is guilty of the crime of defeating the ends of justice. But because they are holding on to docket 375, we are not exactly sure who that person is or who those people are who are supposed to be guilty or ought to be charged with the crime of defeating the ends of justice. But my analysis is that the withholding of docket 375 by the prosecution is in itself an act of defeating the ends of justice. Let me explain it this way. If we have 5 people sitting in the Pretoria High Court charged with the sins of Meyiwa, killing, these people are said to have been the intruders. That is the narrative of docket 636. And it becomes apparent that in that investigation, somebody did in fact defeat the ends of justice. In other words, got in the way of that investigation one way or another, such that charges ought to be preferred against them. Why did the prosecution or the director of public prosecutions not join that charge of defeating the ends of justice to the current charges that we see in the Pretoria High Court at the present moment? In other words, whoever it was that was identified through investigations as having defeated the ends of justice in terms of their own 375 ought to be before the Pretoria High Court to answer the charge of defeating the ends of justice. But that person is hidden away because they are only saying, subject to the credibility findings of the court in the current docket 636, which is unfolding before the Pretoria High Court, and of course subject to the outcome thereof, they will then look into 375 and possibly come up with another trial. But you see, that does not make sense at all, because by their own admission, 375 is not about the no intruder theory, contrary to what everybody believes. 375 is about defeating the ends of justice, according to them. Why should this wait? Why should a charge relating to defeating the ends of justice, which is integral and is part of the same investigation, the same meta investigation, because this act of defeating the ends of justice was done, right, during the course of that investigation. Why should we wait until the meta trial runs its course and then say we will see what happens, whether or not we'll get a conviction for these murder charges that are unfolding in the Pretoria High Court now, and only proceed with the docket or the charges relating to defeating the ends of justice afterwards. It simply does not make sense. And you see, all these disclosures about 375 only came to the fore because T4 had exposed all this. In other words, the prosecution here is not playing by the book. The prosecution is playing hide and seek. So this is another dimension or another angle that I wanted to share with you this morning about the Meyiwa trial. Several dockets, several reasons why, for instance, Kelly Kumalo will not be arrested. But let us say for this moment, for this morning, who is the person who is being charged under 375? Let us for one moment agree with the prosecution that, okay, 375 deals with the issue or the charge of defeating the ends of justice. When will that person be charged? Are we going to wait for this trial to come to an end when that charge arose and is part of or ought to be part of the trial unfolding in the Pretoria High Court? What is going on here? And who is that person? Most importantly, who is it? Because all my investigations, and all the people like Warren, former Constable Tapadima, have told me that 636 was fabricated. It was an act of defeating the ends of justice. So who was it or who is it in terms of 375 is defeating the ends of justice? So somebody is clearly, defeating the ends of justice, because people like former Constable Tapadima saying the mere existence of 636 was an act of defeating the ends of justice. The prosecution also has a 375 docket about defeating the ends of justice, but they will not tell us anything about it. In the next episode, I'll be looking into the possibility or the possible people that the charge of defeating the ends of justice could be dealing with. The people who are not before this court, in spite of the police and the prosecution being in possession of a docket that clearly identifies them as having committed the crime of defeating the ends of justice. So in the next episode, look forward to that exclusive disclosure. Thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you very much for the subscription that I'm seeing. Please like, share, and don't skip those adverts, and have a nice day.